The full moon illuminated the vastness of the forest, whose gigantic trees swayed to the sound of the cutting wind. In the distance, a barely perceptible meow broke the oppressive silence. At the entrance of a village forgotten by time, a thin and trembling figure emerged from the shadows. It was a cat. His once white fur was matted, covered in mud and dry leaves. His intense green eyes seemed to carry stories no one could ever imagine. As he approached the first house, the animal stumbled, weak but determined. The light of a car's headlights suddenly illuminated him, and the house door opened. "My God, it's impossible, ... Is it you?" a woman gasped, her hands trembling as she carried the cat inside. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her heart raced, and tears streamed down her face. This was no ordinary cat. He was Snowy, the companion she had lost 6 years ago in a mysterious disappearance. But what she didn't know was that he hadn't come back alone. 6 years earlier, Snowy had disappeared without a trace. Emma, his owner, was a young woman passionate about animals, living alone in a secluded cabin. At that time, Snowy meant everything to her, her only companion and source of joy. But one ordinary afternoon, he went out to explore the yard. As he did every day and never returned, Emma searched for weeks. She scoured the forest, posted flyers around the village, and asked for help from all her neighbors. But as months went by, hope turned into pain, and pain into acceptance. The void left by Snowy seemed impossible to fill, but Emma learned to live with the longing. Now, seeing him there in front of her felt like a miracle. Though frail, Snowy still had that unmistakable sparkle in his eyes. He purred softly as she stroked him, but something was strange. Snowy was wearing a different color of faded red ribbon Emma had never seen before. That night, as he slept on the warm sofa, Emma stayed awake, staring at the collar. Something was engraved on it, but time had worn most of it away. Only 2 words were still legible: protect him. In the following days, Emma noticed that Snowy was different. He seemed restless, often staring out the window as if expecting something or someone. At night, he meowed incessantly, gazing at the forest. It was as if he was trying to communicate something urgent. Curious, Emma decided to investigate the origin of the mysterious color. She asked the neighbors, but no one knew anything. That's when Snowy began guiding her. Every time Emma left the house, he would run to the edge of the forest and stop, staring at her intently. After some hesitation, Emma finally gave in and followed him. The walk was long and tense. The forest, silent and dark, seemed to conceal secrets in every corner. Snowy guided her to an isolated clearing where the ground was covered in dry leaves. He began digging frantically until something emerged. It was a small wooden box, locked and marked with strange inscriptions. Emma brought the box home and spent hours trying to open it. When she finally succeeded, she found something that left her stunned. Inside was an ancient medallion, a torn map, and a letter with enigmatic words. The Guardian will never abandon their mission. Protect the chosen one. From that moment on, Emma's life turned into a whirlwind. Who had left the message? And what did Snowy have to do with all of it? Determined to understand, she followed the map, with Snowy always by her side. The map's trail led to a remote area of the forest, an ancient forgotten sanctuary. The ruins were covered in moss, and a strange energy seemed to emanate from the place. At the center of the site, a stone with ancient inscriptions stood out. As she touched the stone, Emma felt warmth coursing through her body. The inscriptions began to glow, and Snowy, standing by her side, meowed incessantly. That's when she realized Snowy hadn't just found his way back home. He was the guardian of something far greater. Suddenly, a deep sound echoed through the forest. A hooded figure emerged from the shadows, their eyes glowing with a supernatural intensity. "You shouldn't be here," the figure said. Emma stepped back, but Snowy placed himself between her and the stranger, emitting a fierce growl, something she had never heard from him before. The confrontation was intense, but Snowy didn't give up. He seemed larger, stronger, as if channeling an invisible energy. The hooded figure vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared, but not before issuing a warning. You are not safe yet. In the days that followed, Emma began to understand Snowy's role. He wasn't just a lost cat. During the years he had been missing, he had been chosen as the guardian of an ancient secret, something many sought to possess. From that moment on, Emma dedicated her life to protecting the medallion and the sanctuary. Snowy remained by her side, more loyal and protective than ever. They became an inseparable duo, bound not only by love, but by a mission that transcended the ordinary. Today, when Emma looks at Snowy, she doesn't see just a cat. She sees a hero, a guardian, a friend who came home not just to rekindle an old bond, but to protect something far greater.